Hi everyone, my name is Georgette Truan. I am the host for Real Talk with Miss Fight CPS Real Talk with Miss G and the gang. And here are my gang. Lindsay,
Hi.
Star, I almost called you Ross. Star,
Ross.
and I know it's a new name. And then Stacy. Hey guys. So we have a few things we need to talk about today. I have one from the Bronx, and Stacy has one, a court appointed attorney, correct?
A child protective services attorney.
Oh, sorry, a children attorney, minors counsel, right? In the where? Where was he? New
Niagara,
York, right?
yeah, Niagara County, New York.
New
Yes.
York, and he was arrested. He was indicted today, actually, right?
No. Today he was sent off to jail. He pled guilty to 8 felony counts of rape, including a 16-year-old who reportedly was in DSS custody at the time he sex trafficked her.
And he raped her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and other girls too,
Yes, other women.
other women. And I think the oldest one was 18.
No, I don't know the ages of the others. I just know the youngest one was 16 and reportedly was a ward of the state while he was a CPS attorney himself.
Okay, so he was picking and choosing, right? Pretty much.
Yeah.
And wasn't there like 8 reports made against him?
There are several, but he is an attorney, and so he would often retaliate and file lawsuits against his victims to silence them. So there were many more who came forward in secret but didn't file reports. But it was, I think there were 3 victims for the 8 felony counts, but there are many more out there, very prolific.
Wow. Well, I guess everything I have been saying all along, guys. It's not a conspiracy. It's real.
Yes, ma'am.
And the couple in New York that I wanted to talk about, and I wanted you guys' feedback on that. You know how they do uh, home check for foster parents, right? So
Do you mean home studies?
no,
Is that what you're talking about?
no,
Where they
check.
like come in and they view the house and all of that?
I guess yeah, you could say
Okay.
that. And then so in New York, a couple, the woman, the wife, wanted to be a foster parent, so she told DCFS that her husband is no longer with her because he's a sex offender. He's a registered sex offender. She said they're no longer together, etc., etc. So little did the social worker know that the husband was already there. So the 2 kids that that she got as foster kids, they were being sex trafficked. And other kids too. So he was soliciting online, right? And those kids were being sex trafficked and other kids too. And yeah, so he's a registered sex offender. So basically the social worker had no idea what was going on with the kids. My thing is this.
Or she did know, Miss G.
She
did, yeah.
I know she did. I know she did. That's the thing, but I don't want to speculate, but my gut tells me she knew. And you know how it is when they say that the mother's boyfriend is had a felony against him, and then they separate the mom and the dad, and then they take their kids anyways because of the father's record or the mother's record. Well,
Yep.
but you separated them, right? So why go after the children? But yet the foster mom is saying she's no longer with her husband, who's a registered sex offender. But you're okay with that? Do you understand my point? It's
Or that was the plot.
It's yeah, exactly. So again, that's what they're looking for. They're actually sex trafficking the children, literally.
Well, Miss G, can I tell you another story?
Yes.
Okay, so I've been in this situation for 10 years, and my ex also was an attorney for CPS. And my kids disclosed sex abuse and strangulation. And he has 4 CPS indications from a neighboring county, and they gave him custody. And I've interviewed one of his victims on this show. And her kids were sex trafficked from her to the pedophile, involving my ex as her attorney helped this along. And there was another Niagara County CPS attorney who had a lesbian relationship with a foster mother. And she was cherry picking kids for their relationship. Come to find out, that foster parent was sexually abusing the 16-year-old in her house. Who represented that woman? My ex. And what happened? He got all the charges dismissed, everything wiped under the rug. And then the only outcome was she was not allowed to do foster parenting anymore. So instead, my ex continued to do adoptions to her, knowing she's a pedophile.
So that's super helpful. Let's take your foster care license and keep giving you children to abuse. That makes sense.
That's what my ex did.
But do you see the system always will give the abuser, what did I tell you guys a million times? The abuser gets the children, regardless.
That happened.
What?
That happened to me too. I mean, I didn't have a lawyer present involved in that, but I don't know. Can you guys see me? There we go. I'm sorry, my screen went blank. In my case, I just got out of trafficking. Me and my boys were trafficked and kidnapped and stuff, and we had just got out of it. And I had a custody hearing for my youngest son, and his dad. I was assaulted, and he did his time. He pled to it, whatnot. And this man said it was this judge said it was fairy tales I made up in my head, and he didn't believe none of it existed or this man existed, and gave full custody to my rapist. I haven't seen my son in 5 years, 6 years almost. So there's something with that. I don't get it.
Let me tell you a couple more. So you have her story. Let me tell you a couple more. So my ex worked for Niagara County CPS. This attorney that just went to jail today, he worked for Niagara County CPS. The lesbian one, sex trafficking to the foster parent, she also worked for Niagara County CPS. And when I interviewed Dennis on July 4th, where his son was having the problems with the mom forced converting him to be a girl, that attorney for children in Dennis's case punished Dennis for speaking up against the forced conversion of his son. That attorney now works for Erie County CPS. So punish the protective parent, because Dennis was going to court to get an order to stop the mother from showering in front of her son when he was 7 years old, and stop her from cuddling with her lesbian girlfriend with Spencer caught. Oh, I'm not supposed to say his name. Caught in the middle.
Hold on.
They called it a Ruby
He's
sandwich.
7 years old and mom is showering in front of him?
Yeah,
well, Dennis got it stopped, but the attorney for children tried to punish Dennis and make him be supervised.
Mm-mm.
And now that attorney for children is an Erie County Child Protective Services attorney. So as far as I'm concerned, we just talked about 4 attorneys working for CPS who are sex trafficking kids.
I think they make it that way. They keep those in position like that.
Yeah.
This isn't like coincidence anymore. This
no,
is like
no, it
obvious by
isn't.
design.
Yep.
No, this is not a coincidence. This is something that they've been working on for many, many years. I mean, there are undercover, obviously, FBI agents where they discover the sex trafficking rings where it's everywhere in the world. Not everywhere in the world, sorry. It's mass in the United States right now. In LA County alone, 45,000 children are in the foster care system. 45,000 children.
Mm-hmm.
Not 4,500, 45,000 children.
Miss G too. I was always saying, I don't know if you've been seeing any of this recently. A lot of whistleblowers have been coming forth from that were foster parents or at one point. And it's like, I would encourage anybody that is seeing this or anything that really has a conscience that's involved to come forward and to do something about it. Because that's the only way people are going to find out.
Absolutely. You don't even need to be named. Just make a fake email and email me or Miss G or somebody on this podcast or on this
or Star or
yes,
or Lindsay.
Miss G, put the link for the website up. The email is on there.
Oh,
Yeah.
what link?
The link I sent you for the website.
When did he send it?
I don't know, a few days ago. I'll send it again after the show.
You honestly think I remember it a few days ago? I haven't showered for 2 years.
Hang on, I'll send it to you right now.
I'm just kidding. I've showered. I've showered.
This is just nuts. Everything.
You gonna email it to me? Better?
Yeah, she's doing it.
Yeah.
She's sending it to you. You know, that's crazy though too. It's like my daughter right now is I was just finding out, Miss G, too, that having them had my daughter out the country in itself was illegal. Like that should not have happened. And I put a motion up with my lawyer to say, hey, listen, I don't want my daughter going out there. It's right after COVID. Anything could happen. And not only once or twice, 3 times. And now she's down there again for 2 months. And, contact has been not coming back and forth. And I don't want to assume quite yet everything, but, there's so much that could go on and nobody be held accountable for it.
Yeah.
If you think about it, they could
But
say
why
anything.
Mexico? But why Mexico if you really think about it?
Republic.
Okay.
Dominican, yeah, it's the Dominican Republic, right?
Why there?
Yeah.
Why there? Why specifically
foster-
there? I would be afraid
mother-
to go there.
The foster mother is from there. So
why
she
is
has
adopting from the
been a
U.S. though?
foster parent. Well, she's been a foster parent for about 20 years, and she's never taken a foster child down there like that before. I have my speculations, honestly. I'm not trying to speak it, right now, but if there's not, what could I do as a parent in this country? You know what I'm saying? I don't even have a passport, so I put up a fight, and the argument that they used was they didn't want her to be in a respite home for that amount of time that she was gone. And I'm like, well, it was weird too, because when they terminated my parental rights in August of last year, she had a whole 6-month, I think, trip planned out there. And then as soon as I filed my appeal, she canceled it. And then here we are again. My rights were restored through the Supreme Court. And now has her, they just filed again for termination. I've only had my rights. They haven't actually officially filed, but they told me they are. And now I have my rights, and now she's taking her down there for 2 more months. And it's just the way that they're acting and saying, well, you had a chance to come see her before she left. And I'm like, well, is she not coming back? Why are you acting like that? So it's interesting. We'll find out what goes on here, but that's what they seem to do. I mean, who do you go to though? Then the judge made that decision. You know what I'm saying? Like who do you
Right.
talk
Yeah, I mean, like, what is the next step? What's the next recourse that you have?
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
I think you need to get into federal court because the states are the ones that are profiting off of all this. The states make money when they send the kids to the abusive parent. They make money from that.
Yep.
So they're not going to want to, once they have their claws in a situation, they're not going to want to release because they're making money. I heard that it was like 66 cents on the dollar for every, every judgment that they collect on.
Wait, what? How much?
I heard from a former judge.
Wow.
66 cents on the dollar from the federal government. So they're so incentivized to keep the kids with the abuser and keep making
Take them into custody and get them out. Yep.
Yeah. So it's like, I guess you have to go to federal court because the state, they're not saying, oh, bad judge for doing this. They're saying, attaboy, look at all the money you're making.
So how do you do that? What's the process? What do you mean by going to federal court?
Well,
You'll have to
hard.
appeal it at a federal level. You'll have to appeal it to the federal court, which I think they have different. And I may be incorrect in saying this, but I think there are different districts for federal court, if I'm not mistaken. You could have one in your area, and that would be the one that would control that specific area or location.
Right. You have to show a violation of constitutional rights. But the other problem is
I have that.
Yeah, there's the Rooker-Feldman doctrine, which kind of makes the federal courts not want to make any decisions that affect custody because they think that that's a state court issue. So you have to navigate around that doctrine and some other things that make them not want to get involved with marriage or custodial issues. But if you can show there's fraud occurring and blatant constitutional violations, yeah.
Right. And what I just told you guys about the whole giving my other son to my rapist, that's the same judge. That was the same judge that did that. Now, he knows the trafficking was real and he knows that now, but he violated all kinds of rights of mine. That's why the Supreme Court gave me my rights back. But you would think I've asked Ms. G this, I've asked, Attorney Davis this before. Well, what do you do when they don't want to resign their position? Like, you need to step down. I think at this point, your judgment's clearly clouded.
It's hard. I've had 9 judges recused because, again, my ex is an attorney.
Right.
So,
he probably has like relationships with like all of them.
But it's not even the judges. It's the court officers, the staff, everyone, right?
Yeah. When there's connection, like that lady I told you, her husband is a firefighter.
Yep.
He married a district attorney. The judge, then she became a judge. Then the judge in her case is friends with her, and that judge was babysitting her daughters. A judge's daughter was babysitting her daughters. The same judge that removed her children from her. So
it's insane that we do not have a better process of like oversight here for these cases. And
again,
courts.
Who's going to be the oversight? Because this is the moneymaker. You have to, you have to realize. At the end of the day, these judges are looked at no different than you or me by our employers, and how much revenue do you generate for the company?
Absolutely, yeah. That's such a profound way to put it too, because that is essentially exactly what it is. It's
I want to read John's
comment.
What he's saying about his son. So he said, "Hi, ladies. I am a father of 2 children that were taken by DCFS LA County. I hate LA County with all my heart and mind and body and soul." John had a paid attorney, was present, and all 52 court dates, never missed a visit. Parental rights were terminated, kids adopted. And then he goes on saying, "My question is, how can a good, loving father pick himself up and live any kind of life with I guess from there?"
I think it's supposed to be without them from there.
Well, I don't know. I can kind of offer something there if you want, Miss G.
Yes, please do. I mean, I want to cry right now, but yes.
It is hard. And there's things that I've tried. I've spent so many nights up trying to figure out, is there something I'm missing? I comb through all my transcripts. I talk to state representatives, senators, anybody I can absolutely get my hands on to talk to somebody. And it got to a point where, and I just told, me and Lindsay had this conversation not that long ago, is I don't think I'm going to get her back legally. And I really had to swallow that. And I really had to come to grips with that in a way where as far as adoption is concerned, once they're adopted, I don't think if they closed it out, there's not really much that he can do. But when they turn 18, and when that time comes that he gets, they get to be about that age that, maybe they'll reach out to make sure that as there's some type of doctrine to make sure his information is out there so that they can easily contact each other. You know what I mean? Because it was a lot of accepting and just praying and trying to manifest something good in their life. Because at this point, unless you're a, rogue mafia or something, you got some pull or something, really, I don't know what else to do, but slowly accept it and slowly look forward to the future.
It's hard though. I'm listening to you,
trust me,
but I can't process that because without our children, like he's literally saying, he said, I can't seem to find happiness in anything. I have my own business. It was producing. Now I struggle to even want to get up in the morning. And then he goes on saying, it feels like I have nothing to really live for since they have.
You have to live for her. You have to live for them when they get to that age. You got to be there because they're going to want to see and they're going to want to know what's going on and where their parent is. And if you're not there, you still got to be strong. And it's hard to say, trust me, I cry every day. I'm barely able to keep the tears back now. But you just got to be strong. You got to be strong for them for when they get that age.
So John, there's hope. We had a woman that actually got her Adoption reversed 5 years later after the child was adopted. So there's hope, John. You need to get yourself together. You need to, you know, you need to face life right now and the obstacles. Get your business up again. Fight for your children because
And essentially, like, it is essential for the record to show that you have really tried everything in your power to fight for them. And if you never missed a visit and you always were doing the things that you should have been doing to be there and be present for them, it will show that. And I highly recommend any kid that's been through the foster care system, or the child welfare system, get your court records, because you'll find out really fast who was doing what, because you can't always trust what the foster people say.
right. No, that's very true. But John, do you want to get on the show right now and tell us a little bit about your story? Because if you want to, Grace can email you. All I need is just your email address, and Grace can email you the link, or I can email you the link, whichever.
The one thing that I would say, and this is what I tell people, is they took your children. So why are you just going to hand over
everything? It was not
everything?
the offending parent, though. See, that's what I don't understand. Why is the non-offending parent pays the price for the scumbags?
But when they take your children, are you just going to hand over everything else? Like, here you go, here you go, here you go.
That's a good point.
Why would you want to give them anything else? They took your child. Don't give them your happiness. Don't give them anything that they didn't already.
Happiness, Stacy.
What's that?
How are they going to get happiness, though? It's hard. It's like you put a
don't hand it over. You know, the best revenge is to live happily.
You got to be indignant. You got to get to that point where you're just not going to be, you're not going to take it no more. You got to almost get righteous anger.
And I'm not going to say that I'm not guilty of not following my own advice sometimes, but people would generally say that, you know, I appear happy and whatever. But I would say a symptom of what happened to me is I don't value my time like I should. So I work a lot, whatever, because I just think, you know, if I don't have my kids, who cares? But nonetheless, you know, everything that they tried to throw at me, I think overall, my quality of life is still preserved. And I'm not going to give them my happiness, because that's just, you know, let the vampires take everything. I'm not going to let them take anything more than they already took.
You kind of have to like find a way to hold on to what you have.
Yes.
And also, you know, I started going in my local community, and I found out there's a lot of people in my area that have issues with the same people. And getting together and trying to orchestrate, having groups of sessions, be there for each other, and then eventually try to go and, you know, branch out into doing, you know, a lot of times there's court hearings and things you can protest at. Let them know you're not going to stop, and you're going to keep making sure that these people understand this. You know what I mean?
I know.
The other thing is advocacy. So there's actually research on this, because I'm a physician assistant. So there's research on the people who fare the best after being through a traumatic situation, and the people who come out psychologically the best after going through trauma are those who become advocates in that same field where they experienced their trauma. So another way to help yourself is to actually start helping others and look into some advocacy, because that will actually be therapeutic for yourself.
But please be careful when you look for advocates, because oftentimes they are actually undercover social workers.
For the other side.
Really great actors, you guys. I kid you not.
Yep.
Believe me when I tell you, there were two of them doing our show. She told Attorney Davis 2 years ago that she left DCFS because she found corruption, whatever. I found that later that she's still a social worker. So she didn't leave the department. She's still working for them. And she had a district attorney friend of hers, and we didn't know she was a district attorney. So I asked Grace at the time to shut down the show, because they were literally taking information from people and passing it on. So be careful again who you go to. They're good actors, really good actors. But I'm the kind of person that I investigate. You know, now I do that more so now before I trust someone, because I was burned a lot. And so these
That's
ladies
sad.
right here
Not like once or twice, but a
investigated,
lot.
and they're cool. So they're good. They're good people. So they're actually true to what they're saying. But you know, just be careful. That's all I'm saying. Just be careful, and don't trust anyone you talk to. That's all I'm saying. You know, that's good advice. I mean,
Yeah, because they straight up have people follow you. CYS will have cars, people. Like, it's just they watch every little thing you do, even after termination, even after adoption, it seems. You know, so they just keep tabs on you. It's a little free. It scares me a little bit some days, but you know, hey, I'm not doing anything wrong, so come and follow me.
John, if you look on the, I don't know if is he on YouTube or is he on Facebook?
he's on YouTube.
Okay.
YouTube.
So I will put a comment on the YouTube after we're finished here with the link to the website. Email me, and I just want to pick your brain a little bit, because your case is like a little interesting to me, because I haven't seen the non-offending parent be
That's
that
not
brutally
true.
gone after.
No, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true, baby.
I just haven't seen it.
Well, in LA County, I know where John is, and I'm in LA County too, John.
Does it happen a lot there?
It happens a lot,
I'm
especially
the non-offending parent.
yeah, I know, in the Monterey Park. So basically, the abuser always gets the children. Always, like if John was the abuser, he would have his children,
That's
guaranteed.
insane.
I know it sounds crazy, but that's the God honest truth. That's what I have experienced. So John, I don't know, maybe call me, and maybe also maybe I can tell you, I don't know what department you're in, but I don't want to know on the show. But I'm very familiar with Monterey Park and Lancaster and San Bernardino and San Diego.
Yeah, Miss G's definitely the one to contact,
Yeah,
especially in your area. She knows all about that.
yeah, they're crazy. They're crazy. They're crazy, crazy, crazy. But your state is probably different, Lindsay.
Yeah.
Because in LA County, they're like hyenas. LA County.
See, it's not so, it is not so blatant here. And I've noticed, like, in your state, it is so much more blatant. Like, they have no qualms about what they're doing.
Where do I need to move to? Where are you from, Lindsay?
I'm from Michigan, but we still have the same types of issues. It's just not as loud. So they aren't as upfront about it. And usually non-offending parents in Michigan don't get railroaded like that.
His case was Lancaster, and he spoke to me. Is that your real name? But don't tell me your real name if you don't want to give it out. But I don't know. But then again, baby, I speak to hundreds and hundreds of people.
You mean Lancaster, California, not where I'm at, right?
Lancaster, California. Yeah. No,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, John, you have my number. Then call me then. Shoot. After the show, just call me. Okay.
Man, it blows my mind that it happens so much out there. I guess I knew it happened. I just have never, really spoken with somebody that it happened to. Actually, your friend, the lady that was married to the firefighter, wasn't she non-offending?
The firefighter actually has on his record, he has arson and theft.
That's what I thought.
On his record, but he still became a firefighter because his mother was dating the head of the hiring rank person. And he kind of slided in there, like, a spoiled boy. And but he had arson and theft on his record before he became a firefighter. But any normal person would not be able to
arson and theft, and you become a firefighter.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh yeah. Anyway,
that's like you're a sex offender and you get hired to work for CPS.
That is
right.
True. But that's what I'm telling you. That's why his mother wanted him to be a firefighter, because he taught him that a badge is going to save him. Get it? Because the police and the firefighters, they protect each other. So basically, I'm not saying all firefighters are bad. I'm not saying that. But my godfather is a firefighter. He's a captain. But he told me, I mean, he told me not all of them are good and not all of them are bad. But the ones that get in there with a record on them, the other firefighters don't have any on them. But that one person, got in there. Right? So, yeah.
Let me tell you how it happens, Lindsay.
Oh, and he was the abuser, by the way, too. He beat the mother when she was pregnant. The mother had bruises. You know what the police did? Did not
Not a
arrest him.
thing.
Nothing.
So-
The police did not arrest him because he said that he's a firefighter.
There's so many things I can tell you how they make this magic happen to give custody to the abuser. And I've been fortunate to be able to get so many of my records that I know everything they did. For one thing, they cherry pick who the court forensic is going to be. And that court forensic in my case made all these behind the scene phone calls. He called the police and he called CPS and told them not to talk to my children about their disclosures of sex abuse. And guess who listened? The police and CPS. So they canceled the CAC interview for my children and the police closed their investigation. And my ex never got investigated and the kids never talked to anybody.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, this is...
Here, don't investigate me for the crimes I've committed.
And
then they
said,
don't.
Then
Are you
they said
serious right now?
Then they said, well, look at her. She's making these allegations and there's no evidence of abuse because they never looked for it. Wow. So then they took my kids from me saying I was making false allegations. And then my daughter started disclosing strangulation because, she was probably like emotionally hypervigilant in his house. And so she would go into these temper tantrums and he would, put her in a chokehold and cover her mouth. And she said, Mom, the problem is when he's doing that, I can't tell him he's actually choking me. And he kept doing that. And then she started running away whenever she'd get in trouble. So there are multiple police reports of her running away from her father and police being called to look for her.
That poor kid.
And it kept happening so much, she got hospitalized because she kept running away and they wanted to know why. My child disclosed all these things to the nurse at the hospital. Niagara County CPS got a report from the psychiatric nurse at the hospital. And it said that he was putting his knee into her abdomen and squishing her and scaring her. That it said he was intimidating her not to tell what was going on, that if she told what was going on, he was going to hurt her. It said that she can't sleep at his house because of the scary things he says to her. And her attendance record at school verified she can't sleep at his house. Horrible attendance record, right? What did Niagara County CPS do when they got that report from the hospital, from the mandated reporter? They received that report and closed it as a duplicate. They called it a duplicate because that's the one way that you can close a report absent any investigation. And so her hospital discharge, she got sent back to her father's house. No investigation, no one ensuring safety.
You know what? I have a story, Miss G, real quick. That reminds me, and it's a current thing with York County. And I'm you know me, I will let this out. But yeah, the foster parent of my son that he had, right? He was very well known. Came up from government senators. I won't mention names. And
I wish you would, though. I mean, but again, we can't.
Yes, can't.
And he's even a president that has pictures of him in the house hanging in the walls.
I've seen it.
And it's so anyway, he had adopted this other little boy, which I knew the little boy's family from before, from being in the trafficking. So I knew about the little boy and he had adopted him. The parents are kind of like it wasn't really anything they did. It's just they're mentally not like there. They're kind of, a little bit mentally challenged in that regard. But they didn't want to work with him. They took all her kids. And so he's beating this boy with a wet belt in front of my grown son. And making him watch this for 2 years, okay? And so he's doing this. The little boy's running away constantly. He's 12 years old. And then I felt that there was something more going on because once my son disclosed it to me, he said, Mom, I found him watching gay porn and stuff. And I said, that's a sign. There's other stuff going on. And I felt it, and this man he came up, he's a first Black African-American Baltimore City teacher. His name's Elijah Etheridge. You know, he has a lot of pull, a lot of political pull. I have these things recorded. I mean, these things are things my kid contacts me when this is going on, where he's trying to kick my kid out the house because he told me. So what's CYS do? Oh, the guardian ad litem, the caseworker, they're in the room with Elijah and my son. I hear all of them talking. And all they're saying is, Isaiah, you got to come with us, or we're going to put you in juvenile. And I'm like, really? So now they're going to go after him. I called the police. They never went out. I know what they're doing.
Doesn't care.
No, and now get this. So the little boy ran away for the last time. This time he stole some things apparently out the home, a gun, money, and they got caught. So now, of course, a great opportunity.
Do you blame the kids?
Oh, not at all.
I don't blame the kids. No,
but
I don't blame him.
They put him actually in a home that I used to be in as a teenager, all the way out in Pittsburgh, in a like a group home type setting. And what better way to put him out there? Now, mind you, they've had investigations twice. CYS had supposedly investigations because my son admitted to stuff and whatnot that was going on. They said there was nothing they seen wrong here, and they put the kid right back there. And at night, he ran away that night again. But now here we are. Fast forward, you got 2 more kids, 2 more little boys put in that home. How?
So let me tell you something. Again, I'm a physician assistant, so I always look to the research.
Yes.
And the interview that I did with my friend Catherine Kazanoff 11 days before she died, she had the same problems, that her daughter ran away from the abuser's house to her home and literally took a cab to her home. First of all, research is children don't run to abuse. They run to the safe home. So that should have been a sign right there that she was running to her mom. Her mom's the safe parent. Also, you know, in the movies, unfortunately, it did a disservice to children because they sensationalized kids running away as kids looking for adventure or they have behavioral problems. But research does not show that that's the case. Research shows that kids run away usually because there's problems in the home. Sometimes it's like an LGBTQ kid that's not being accepted in the home, or there's a teen pregnancy, or someone failed a class. But by and large, it's usually runaways are due to abuse, and that's what research says.
Yes, yes. And the thing is, so, you know, my son even trusted the system. And in fact, you know, it was funny when they were all in the living room, you hear the foster dad saying, Isaiah, you want to know why I'm kicking you out this house tonight? Because you told your mother. Right. You told your mother what was going on in this home. It's like, well, my God, like, you would think these people would do the right thing. And it's like they cowered. You could hear it, this silence. And that quickly, within 5 minutes, they had another foster dad ready for my son to go move in with. And, you know, it's like, okay, now this person has talked against my son where he's almost 19 now. And now all of a sudden he doesn't, you know, he has a little bit of something against me. Like he's been talked to in such a way. They're trying to get my oldest son, who's my heart, my baby, against me. You know, so I've heard him say the most harmful, hurtful things to me recently that I'm just like, wow.
They do that.
Wow. It's like the icing on the cake for them. They think that, oh, well, we're going to get her. Now we're going to push her down even further. No, you're not. And that's the thing that I'm getting at, is that this has activated me to stand up for myself. And this has activated me to help me. If I can even not get anything, I can help the next person. You know what I mean?
These antics backfire. So whether you subscribe to this or not, but, you know, this happened in my situation too. So when, you know, the abusers get custody, they teach the kids to disrespect their parents like this. But you can't teach a child disrespect and expect it to be singled out towards one person. If you teach them disrespect, they learn disrespect in general.
Right.
So kids are not dumb, though. They know who is doing them dirty. So they're brought up to be angry. They're brought up to be disrespectful, and they're abused, and they're trying to make sense of their situation. And not all kids respond to abuse the same. Some might be straight A students. Some might be abnormally compliant. Some you would just never know. Some might have ADHD symptoms. Some might have cutting problems. Some might be angry, and some might be violent, and some might develop sexualized behaviors. It's just so varied because you're dealing with kids who have immature coping skills. So, but when they're teaching kids to be violent, hateful, angry, disrespectful. Where do you think these school shooters come from? Where do you think these group home facility people get killed from? Because this is what they're teaching the kids, and then it backfires on them.
Yes.
The schools, the kids go in there, they start disclosing their abuse, and they're like, hey, my house isn't safe, but the next place that I'm at that just as often as my home is my school. And then they start disclosing the school, but what does the school play? See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. And for a child, they resort to very drastic measures, and boom, threats of school shooting, all this stuff. Not that all kids do it, but the ones that have anger as a result of their victimization, they become angry and they know who did it to them, and
nothing has been done.
Because that happened with my son.
Yep, mine too.
So they're basically like feeding him, like, because he's blaming me for I mean, I'm not going to say I'm perfect. I've had my fair share of things that, you know what I mean, that I could have done better, but I'm a good mother.
They're teaching him hate.
Right.
And if you can't respect your own mother, what hope does any other person have? If a child is being trained to disrespect their mother, how can you expect this person to treat a stranger any better if this is how they treat their mother
or their girlfriend?
Yeah, right. So so my ex very much, his prodigy child is violent. And my son was just arrested for sending sexually explicit images to another child. And my son has made school shooter posts again, the whole way through. They ignored everything. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. They never requested a psychological evaluation. There's all this history of him making disclosures of sexual abuse. And now he's making these posts. Now he's getting arrested. And still nobody will explore if he was in fact sexually abused by his father, like he disclosed when he was 6 and 7 years old.
And even then they don't care.
Because at this point, it's so obvious. I knew, they know, but Daddy's a lawyer.
It's like they're priming him almost, to take a fall for something.
Yeah, they are. Because now that he got arrested, right?
It's the connection. That's what I was trying to say earlier. It's a connection. They have a connection. They're not nothing is gonna happen to them.
Yeah. So I filed an affidavit to my son's arrest case. Like, hello, he has this whole history of, sexualized behaviors, of violence ever since he made his disclosure of sexual abuse by his father. Don't you think this should be looked into? And you know what they did was they criminally obstructed my affidavit from the case.
Which did?
They're hiding it. And the reason they're doing that is because they want to put my son's behaviors on my son, not from their lack of investigating, not from their lack of protecting, not that they weren't told a million times by me. And I recorded myself saying, if you don't do something, you don't get him into therapy, something's going to happen to another child.
I have said those same exact words.
Well, so do you think that they would actually charge the child? Like, because in my case, and I'm not going to say which son or anything, but my son has gotten charged with rape of a child that he didn't do. I mean, he's passed polygraphs and everything. Would they actually put a charge on another child just to get it to look like he's like that for like leverage?
My son's pretty bad. Like, I know his history since age 6 or 7. His own sisters are in fear for their safety living with him. And he's made homicidal threats to his sisters, and they keep ignoring that too.
Wow.
Even if he raped his sister, they're going to blame the sister.
Right.
You know what that firefighter mother that is an attorney went that day he beat his wife, his pregnant wife, because he knew the police was coming. And did you know what she said in front of the cops? What did you do to provoke my son? That's what she said in front of 3 officers, the mother told me. 3 officers. Sad, ain't it? But he wasn't arrested. You get me? You guys get me, right? It's a cycle of abuse. That's why I call them demonic. Only a demon would want the children.
I was just going to say that, Miss G. I've been finding out. Can I share something too here?
Yes, of course.
I've been finding out something when it comes to that I was not aware of, right? I understand spirituality. I understand things like that. But there's people around us every day, right? Some of us are very close to us that are practicing actively practicing witchcraft to the point where my ex has just now uncovered that he is sex magic on me. And it will make you do things and act a certain way. And you doing this purposely without the consent of people around you. It manipulates. Imagine on the big scale of things like CYS and things like that. It's like CYS will put a man in your life that does things like that just to get you off track and away from what that is that you need to focus on with your children. And it's really off charts. I get it. It sounds messed up, but I mean, I have proof. He admitted to it. And I'm like, well, I'm going to start to expose this stuff. We're going to expose more than just my, because honestly, I'm tired of having this happen. And maybe the next girl is not going to be as strong as me, and she ends up killing herself because that's where it goes.
Okay, let me tell you something about witchcraft and demons. Okay.
Yes.
Witchcraft and demons, basically, they cannot do anything to you without your permission.
Well, if you give them permission by engaging in sexual activity, no.
That's just, even Satan can't do anything to anyone without even God's permission. Remember Job, the story of Job? He had to get God's permission. But God said, you can do as you will, but he's still going to be my servant, Job, right? He's not going to go anywhere. But I guess the devil wants us to stray away from God. That's all he wants, for us to leave God and be on our own with him. Get it?
Right.
So Job didn't go anywhere. All the trials he's been through, he didn't go anywhere. He still loved God. So God restored everything more than what he lost. So when a witchcraft comes to do something to you, that witchcraft, that woman or man cannot do anything to you without your permission. Remember?
Well, I'm even finding out about it just now. I didn't even know about it then when it was happening. I'm away from him now. But it's like I couldn't understand why this attachment was there. The soul tie was more than any other soul tie I've ever had, to a point where I'm obsessing. I'm having all the symptoms.
Let me tell you, did you have relation with him? You know what kind of relation I'm talking about?
Just normal partner relations. Yeah. I mean, we had a sexual relationship. Yes.
Right. So I don't know, I know you guys don't know everything, but this is the God honest truth. When you have relation with a man, that's not, that's been around crazy, right? So the
unbeknownst to me, but yes.
You're not crazy. No, I'm not talking about you, Star. No,
I'm saying unbeknownst to me, meaning I didn't know he was involved in that stuff. Yeah.
Correct. So what happens is women are the receivers.
Correct.
Men are the givers, right? You know exactly what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
So therefore, when you're receiving his soul. His spirit. So all the spirits he's been with.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
and it's even on top of that.
Right. So you don't know what kind of spirit, because it's a bond. It's like, it's God meant it for marriage. And I know people hate me saying that. I'm so sorry, guys, but I go by according to God. I'm so sorry. But God intended this for marriage.
And the thing is, it's even the sex magic from what I've researched so far in this witchcraft thing is that it is an intent. It's an intent that's set while they're doing this with you. And you're supposed to have the consent of the other persons, or that they know you're doing this. And the intention is like a manifestation while you're intimate with your partner. And then at the end of that, an intent goes out to God or what they believe in, universe, whatever. And then that comes back in a drastic way where it creates not just a soul tie, but almost like a cord that they can never endingly pull on you, even when you're away from them. And I'm blown away, because I know I did find confirmation out that CYS and the things in my case had something to do with this person being involved, and there's ties there. So I'm like, okay, well, wow, we're getting real deep into here. They got some tactics up their sleeves, they really are about this, so it's just a matter of now playing defense, really. And clean up and straightening up a little bit on my end with men. Yes. How do you say? Can you hear? Oh, there you go.
It's very and I talked in length with Lindsay on that topic.
Yeah.
With length. In length. We just don't know who we're entertaining. And the last thing you want is to entertain the wrong person. And and even when you marry the wrong person, it's the worst there is, because they can marry you in your church, in your faith, but their motive is something completely different, right?
Right.
So they're not even Christian. They don't even know God. So therefore, they just want to get you. So the devil is a deceiver. He's the father of lies, and he is the accuser, right?
Yes.
So you guys hear abusers always blame their victims. Always. It's their fault. It's always going to be their fault. Same thing with the system. The system abuse family and the abused children. There is absolutely nothing good about the system. And we already know where we have a pedophile in a high place. I'm not going to say where, but you guys should know who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about it before the show. But, you know, they're trying to brush it under the rug. But this shit is real. It's real. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, what you need to do, Star, I'm going to tell you what you need to do after the show. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
But it's real. I'm gonna have to send it to you. Actually, I'm gonna have to send it to you. Okay.
Yes.
But I'll tell you what to do, and it's gonna go away. Whatever whatever happened, it's gonna go away because it's God's will, and God just needs you to acknowledge it. That's all it is. That's all it is. Don't kill me, everyone, because you know. Sometimes some of you guys are like, "No, Miss G, God is doesn't exist."
It just goes to show you how far they're willing to go to pull you down and how big this actually is if that can happen.
Yep.
You know what I mean? How widespread this is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's scary.
And the thing about it is also when you have relation with the wrong man, that's consent, by the way.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
That's consent. That's why God said it's husband and wife only. And then you make your bond in church, you know, in front of God. So basically,
Yes,
that's what it is.
I mean, what would happen if you got married and you didn't know he was doing that, and then your marriage didn't happen? It's still a tie. It's still the same symptoms, I guess, too.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like God intended for one husband, one wife for the rest of your life until you die. Like my parents, they died a couple of months apart. So basically, that's what God meant it for. But what I have seen as I grew older is divorces are so high. They're so high. It's not supposed to be like that because you're going from this partner, this partner, this partner, this partner. And you're sleeping like with this, doing this, that. And then you go to a different partner and so forth. So basically, there is no commitment. There is no bond. There's no family life. There is no family gathering because the state and government is taking your children forcefully, and then they divide the family while the children who are being abused and needs to be removed are not removed. Why? Because according to social workers, they're damaged goods.
Yeah.
And they're not adoptable.
And that's what it's all about, right? Because that's what they get incentives for.
Yeah.
Miss G, have you ever dated since your divorce?
No.
I know. But I'm getting tired of my friends actually telling me that too. You have no idea, guys. My friends have been on my butt every single
day. But our lives, guys, are not normal. I mean, I don't know about you, but trying to explain this to somebody you just meet, it's like, hey, I'm going to give you a disclosure form first, okay? And let you know everything that's going on because you might have this and this and this happen to you. You know what I mean? So it's not easy. It's really not.
It isn't. I got lucky. I got so lucky.
Yeah, you did.
He's my rock, and I don't know what I would do without him.
Yeah, you're blessed. You're definitely blessed.
Yes, you are.
And you're an amazing girl too. I mean, you're so
Thank
sweet.
You.
All of you guys are sweet. I love all of you guys. Honest to God, I love you guys so much.
Me and Lindsay have gotten really close since all this, and it's
great
to have a friend like her.
I know.
Yeah.
And she cares about you so much, Star.
I know.
She always tells me, "Yep, she cares about you." So she has a good soul, and so does Stacy. Stacy has a sweet soul.
I just started talking to you. I guess from the last week, right, or 2 weeks before. Yeah.
Stacy. Yep.
Yeah. Right. But she was on the show with Dennis. Is that it?
Dennis.
Yeah.
Right. Dennis is a flake. I'm mad at him right now. First, we changed the whole entire time. The whole time.
That's all right. We don't need no man.
No.
See what I?
You said that easy, Lindsay. It's because you got one.
Yeah, but he still doesn't know what he's doing. I have to figure that stuff out.
I'm telling you, but no, honestly, I honestly think if you, well, first of all, divorce is only permitted in front of God, right? Only if your husband dies, obviously, you can remarry, or if your husband cheats on you and leaves you. So that's when it's okay for you to remarry. But when you choose the right man, make sure that he's the right man, meaning that he fears God first, meaning he loves God so much. Because if he doesn't have a relationship with Christ, he will never be able to treat you like the woman that you should be treated. So that's a lot of people don't understand that. The relationship that you want to have for the rest of your life, you have to first begin it with God. And it ends with God. So God first, God last. No, nothing else in between. Only God. So that's the kind of man that will honor you. I've seen it with my father and my mother. They honored each other very much, amazingly in love. Don't believe the people that say love. What did Tina say? Love is just what, an emotion, or that song, Tina, that saying, what's love got to do with it? There you go. What's love got to do with it? Love has a lot to do with it. I don't believe in that song at all.
Second-hand emotion. Is that what it says? A second-hand?
Yeah.
Love is just an emotion or something like that. Yeah. Love is love. If you don't have feelings and you don't have emotion, then you're dead.
That's a
You're
narcissist.
actually the walking dead, and you're a narcissist.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Making a list.
Yeah.
So basically, I mean, if you really think about it, love is real, and anyone that says that has to be emotionally broken. And if you're emotionally broken, that means you're not seeking God to help you. And
or you're apparently doing witchcraft and casting spells.
Yeah, I have a client, 3 clients. Rest in peace. Thank you, John. She did die recently. I did have 3 clients, one from New York, Minneapolis, and Wisconsin's. They went to witchcraft to do magic on the judge. I'm not joking. And they all connected through social media, and they all told each other what they need to do, with the witch telling them what to do.
Wow.
They have to pay a lot of money for that. So they did a spill where when they walked in the courtroom, they spilled something or whatever, and they had to do a drawing on the ground, and they had to put candles, and then they had to call in the other side.
In the courtroom?
No. Before they went to the courtroom.
Oh, okay.
But then whatever they took, they
Stacy's like, oh no, I'm not going to that courthouse.
they spilled it on the doorway, right before they enter it. So they thought they're going to destroy the judge, but all 3 of them lost their case so badly. None of them know where even the kids were. So it backfired on them.
Well, when you play with fire, you get burned.
Yeah, it backfired on them.
And that resonates over and over in this sort of situation.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you see these parents out there, and they'll go to a certain attorney that has some criminal background, like, like this rapist guy from CPS. He, had private clients. Who would go to that? Who would go to an attorney who's been indicted on rape for 3 years? They didn't even do anything. They didn't put him in jail for 3 years.
Well, speaking from my own experience, when I selected an attorney, I did it, and I research everything. Ask Miss G. I am the research fool here, but like, I know most people don't, so they may not know.
Well, yeah.
So it's always good to check your sources.
Yeah, I get if you don't know, but I'm saying if you know.
Oh yeah.
Why are you going to go to a dirty guy? Because at the end, it's not going to work out for you. It's going to backfire.
It is going to backfire. But then again, women are so gullible when it comes to love, because we're emotional beings and we love. And when a woman truly loves, she loves, right? Unfortunately, there are so many narcissists out there that they're very smooth, very charismatic. They're very charmer. They're charmers,
They're tricksy.
and yeah, they're tricker. That's why a narcissist has the same trait as Satan: pride,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Deceiving, and a pathological liar. So a narcissist feeds on that. The narcissist feeds on your anger, feeds on your happiness, it feeds on your your mood, period. So whatever they have power over you and you react to it, you're literally feeding, it's like feeding them food. They can't survive without it. It's weird, right?
Like
But that's
vampires.
yeah,
Mhm.
but that's how Satan is though. But that's exactly how Satan is. Satan has the same traits. Satan has to win. Satan is the father of lies. Satan is the deceiver. Satan is the accuser, right? So the same traits they have. And I heard it from 5 psychiatrists. 5 psychiatrists said the same thing. Narcissists are demonic. So the system is
Yeah.
not gonna, right. So the system is not gonna hire someone like me, like Lindsay, like Stacy, like Star, right? They're not going to
Mhm.
hire that because
We have morals.
we have morals, we have love, we have compassion towards other people. They're not going to hire that. They want somebody who lacks every bit of human traits in them. So that
True.
way they can get the job done because compassion is not going
Empathy.
to
Yes.
steal a child from a good mom and dad. Like John should have his children. He's the non-offending parent, but what do they do with a non-offending parent? They accuse them of failing to protect, even if they're not home with the other parent, right? How would they know what's going on? Right? We all know if you're divorced or separated, one parent is going to keep some crap away from the other parent, right? They don't want to be known, correct? Same
Right.
thing with all of this crap that's happening in the world. The abused children are being abused until they're killed by the boyfriend or raped by the boyfriend, or the mother doesn't give a crap because she's too high. Those are the kids that the foster parents don't want. That's why you hear a lot of stories: the mother's boyfriend killed, the mother's boyfriend raped, the mother's boyfriend this, the mother's boyfriend that, right? But you guys don't hear the other side where all the family members made reports, or even neighbors made reports, and CPS said it's unfounded. How
Left
can
them there.
reports be unfounded? But you go to the you go to the mother or father's house once for 5 minutes and you found crap already.
Mm.
It doesn't.
It's just skewed. It's all skewed. It's
It
all
is.
wrong.
It is. It's wrong. It's very wrong because someone like John or anyone, any dad who's fighting for his kids, they deserve to be with him. If he's the right parent, they deserve to be with him. Period.
And also just a comment, I guess somebody made a comment about I guess that I should not to be studying to more just be in the Bible or whatnot. I just said just to clarify, I guess it's not that I'm studying to become a scholar in it. You really sometimes I've learned you have to figure out what is going on around you in order to define what it is, so you know what to even pray for, what to ask for, and then and it's kind of like you get an understanding of what your symptoms are and why. You know what I mean? You can combat it. And there's some people who are believers that have to be in the midst of it to get them, to get people out and to help. So sometimes people's callings are a little different than others. But it's definitely something I feel for me I had to do, and it opened my eyes to everything, and which I then confronted that person, and then that person was like, so what he said. So
I think like the more educated you are on the things that are adversarial for you, the better.
Correct.
Star, don't ever,
Yes.
baby, don't ever look. I love you because you always search and you always try to find answers. Same thing with Lindsay. Me and her were talking for like 2 hours before. Remember Lindsay? Poor baby. She's like, I gotta go now. I'm like, I'm serious. I'm not joking. She was so tired. I was tired too. But
I was exhausted.
me too, baby. But I just kept going. When I talk about
We
God,
had to.
yeah, we had to go. But Star,
Yes.
baby, don't ever explain yourself. You're doing the right thing.
No. And I wanted somebody sometimes, and the reason I explained that one is because I come from a grandmother who was a very hardcore into Christianity,
Religion.
and it's religion. Thank you. And
It's
so
not religion.
sometimes
It's relationship. Don't
Yeah.
call it religion. You got men.
No.
made it.
No,
Well,
she
it's
was-
not. It's not religion the way you explain it. It's religion like the American one.
it's like the it's like the
Like you're not so great way.
overboard. Like you know what? You cursed, you're going to hell. You know, that type of hypocritical Christian religion, they take it to an overboard extent and they push that on you. That's a difference than what we are. You know what I mean? So she kind of had me like, you know, thinking the same thing while you're studying it, you're looking into it. And some people believe that you're going to hell. You're bringing and opening a door, they think, for that type of spirit to come in because you're researching it. And there's a lot of people who believe that. So that's why I wanted to clarify on that one for that comment.
When
I think the more educated, the better.
Yes.
That's true, but I want to just make something clear to you guys. Do you know in the Bible, the part where it says, discipline your child, right?
And the way he should go.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah. A lot of people in America, and who are my friends, American friends, they think that this is beating your child with a rod.
Oh, spare the rod, spoil the child. Yeah.
But it's not that way.
Mm-mm.
So when I read the Aramaic Bible, Coptic Bible, the original Bible, right?
Yep.
It's not. It wasn't changed. It's the original exact Bible, right? So when people say that, then preach about that, right? And then you beat your child thinking God told you to do that, which He didn't tell you to do that, because when Jesus came on earth, He told us, don't hinder any of these little ones. He literally commanded us not to hinder them, to come to Him, right? So God, the way God meant it is basically the way it's written. God, when He speaks, like He spoke to Moses on the mountain, it was fire. It was a fire bush, right? So when God speaks, it becomes it. That's it. He spoke it. Becomes alive. Whether it's words, anything God says, it's living, right?
You also got to study that culture and that time for that word. Might have been way different than what we see a rod is or spoiling is in that culture. Yeah.
Spoiling is basically letting your child astray, leaving your child astray, and not teaching him the word of God. Because in the Bible, there is discipline. In the Bible, there's discipline. Like my mom taught us, if it's not in the Bible, don't do it, right? So as a child, I grew up thinking that if it's not in the Bible, I'm not going to do it. So I lived my life that way. So therefore, guess what? That's how you discipline your child. But oftentimes the school stops the mother or the father or both. And the schools don't want to even mention God. You know why? Because it's violence. They said the Bible is violence. I don't know where in the Bible is violence, actually.
Probably more in the New Testament when it's all the fighting is what they refer to normally. All the blood, all the loss of blood. If you read through Exodus and when they were conquering all the land going across, it's brutal. It is brutal, but
but in history books, right? All the Indians dying.
Right.
Okay. Yep. All the people being hung on the tree. And it's in history books. I mean, the Holocaust is in history books. Isn't that violence?
But I guess they think that if we're promoting love and light and stuff like that, that why are they killing? And it's not, they're not grasping it. They got to go a little deeper with it.
No, what it is, like I told you guys before, and I'm going to say it again because I want you guys to hear this real quick. The devil was kicked out of heaven because of his pride. So when God flooded the earth, Sodom and Gomorrah, He promised Noah that when he sees a rainbow, that's a sign from God keeping His promise that He's not going to flood the earth again. This is the last time. So the devil used the rainbow colors, called it pride, gave it a name, the same name that God kicked him out of heaven because he is prideful. So
Perverted it.
the rainbow is God's message to us. It doesn't belong to the LGBTY, whatever they call them. Okay? So sorry to say this, but it doesn't belong to them. So what they did, right? So what they did, they're actually you putting that in God's face. You know why? Because God doesn't break a word, meaning God's promises is is alive, it's living, it's not gonna go anywhere. So the devil knows God doesn't lie. So if he breaks a promise, that means God is a liar. So he's throwing it in his face. So telling God, well, you're not gonna do anything. Nobody's gonna believe you. So, but you see what I'm talking about? That's what he tells people. If there's God, he would be mad right now. But God already, he has mercy on us. He has actually, his mercy is what saves us. But again, that's exactly what's happening in the world. So they're introducing it to children. To children. What does that tell you? So a satanic temple priest is welcome in schools to teach children that the devil is a good guy.
Oh my gosh. Hang on. I have a thing. So my husband.
Excited. Okay.
I'm not excited. I'm absolutely livid.
Okay.
But it's interesting.
What?
So evidently, my husband was telling me this. I haven't researched it yet, so I don't know what the ins and outs are yet. But he had mentioned to me the other day that there was like this huge news story about like this guy that had taken this woman's child and tried to breastfeed because he thinks he's a woman. So they took like pictures of this, right?
Wow.
And then some swimmer girl had found older pictures of the same guy who was using like nipple clamps and stuff, which means it's sexually gratifying. So if he's using something that's sexually gratifying him for that type of thing, and then he's putting somebody else's child on his man boob, how is that acceptable? That is, to me, I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that that's probably child abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Just my thought. I was freaking stunned. Absolutely stunned. Did not believe him. And then he showed me like some of the stuff, and I was like, holy frick, that is not okay. It blew my mind. Who does that? Who puts a child on somebody else's chest?
Okay, that's like that's straight out pedophilia.
Thank you. That's what I said.
Yeah, that's straight out pedophilia. This is not normal. But do you guys see what I'm talking about though? They're welcoming all this, but they're taking the Bible out. And yes, by the way, the book of Enoch, you're right. Whoever said that.
There's 101 books to be exact that were taking out the Bible now. And I've researched this a lot, and she's partially right there, is that they have, if you were a female, if you were not Jewish, your book didn't go in. Didn't matter how much God said here, this is what we want to do. And if you look at some of the ones that are taken out, it talks about some little bit more of controversial things that we now are thinking controversial, like manifesting, positivity. And it's really just the way we're phrasing it. It's still in the Bible. Speak positive, think positive, expect that,
The book of Enoch was taken out from here though, but we have the book of Enoch.
Yeah, we have all of them. You can look all of them up now. 100, all
now. But when I was in school, the book of Enoch didn't even exist. My teacher didn't even know what it was.
Yeah,
I mean, I asked my mom at the time, and she said maybe they don't understand the name. Maybe it's a different name here. But the book of Enoch is Enoch. Enoch.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So
yes, about one of the fallen angels in the end times. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. But my grandmother, she was like 100 when she died, 100 something.
Jeez.
My mom's mom. And she actually told me, as a young lady, she said to me before I even read the book of Enoch, she said that the angels that fell out of heaven, the third angel, the third of the angels that fell out, they had relationship with women.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it is, they knew how to do makeup, they knew how to do this, they knew how to, their perfumes and, you know, woodcrafting, all that. They taught mankind a lot of
Knowledge. Yep.
knowledge. They give them knowledge of a lot of stuff. So mankind became arrogant. And as our generation increases, right, more arrogant people in the world right now. They're arrogant, all they care about themselves. That's even in the Bible.
It's Revelation.
In the Bible, exactly. So a lot of people who don't know God really need to find him by asking him to come in their hearts. Because God is not going to force himself in your home. You're going to have to ask him. But the thing about God is people blame him for every little thing that happens to them. But you know what I learned in life? Because I also blame God at one point, one time. I learned that God sent me people to stop me from doing something that I shouldn't do, marrying somebody I shouldn't marry. But I did it anyways. So we blame God for our own decisions. But God is so loving, he sends us people to warn us. But we don't take their, you understand, we dismiss them. So therefore, when we make a mistake, God doesn't punish you. God forgives you. Because Jesus forgave you when he took his sin onto him on the cross. But ask God to come in your heart so you can be protected by the firing darts of the enemy.
I got goosebumps.
You know what? Lindsay said the same thing when I was talking to her. She said she got goosebumps. But that's the God honest truth.
I always get goosebumps when I'm talking to you, Miss G.
Yeah.
I do. You do it at least once every time I talk to you.
Well, maybe God is speaking through me. How's that?
I gotta go
me
take
too,
care of
guys.
kiddos, but I love you guys and I'll see you next time, okay?
Yes.
Tomorrow is
Thank
next
you.
time.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Yes. Bye, guys.
Bye. Okay, so all right. So Stacy,
Hi, Miss G.
I guess we all get good bumps from you, Miss G. Good. I guess you. What is this? Good bumps.
Goosebumps.
I guess goosebumps. Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah, goosebumps. Yeah.
You're so cute. Yeah. So guys, just ask God to come in your heart. Honestly, if you don't know God, ask him to come in your heart
Good advice, Miss G.
and to show you the way. But don't pray it out loud. Remember, you praise him out loud, but when you pray and ask him to come to your heart, do it in silence, just between you and God. Because the devil, you don't want the devil to hear your words. He's very good at that. He hears your words. He can't read your mind. So he doesn't have that much power, obviously, but he can't read your mind, your thoughts at all. So whatever you pray to God within yourself, you're good to go. And God will answer you. Goosebumps, Miss G. Read through my journey. Talk to text through the lines. I hate my phone. Okay, I'll do that. But Stacy, do you have anything to tell people before we go?
Well, I don't know. I guess, like you said, think positive and stay positive.
Yes, ma'am. Think positive and stay positive.
Yeah.
God is good. You guys don't know. There's miracles out there, but you just have to believe and don't be discouraged. And don't lie.
Right.
Lies is from Satan himself, and there's nothing good about lies. And be
I
honest
agree.
with yourself.
Yep.
And be open with God, because God already knows what you've done. Just be honest with yourself. And we're not perfect, but that's why Jesus took our sins on him. So we owe him a lot. And that's why God said, if you blaspheme the Holy Spirit, you're pretty much not forgiven for that. okay? Because he gives credit to his son and he sees us. So anytime you pray in your heart, you pray in Jesus' name, amen, because God does not see you as you. God sees Jesus in you, okay? Because Jesus cleansed us with his blood. So that's a big deal. Protect your mind, protect your body, protect your thoughts, and protect your surroundings. And don't hang out with people who are nuts, because you will be nuts. Don't entertain them. You know, people here, what? Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Well, guess what? Jesus said, pray for your enemies. Don't entertain them. So whoever told you that is an idiot. True idiot. Because we pray for the enemy. We don't keep them closer to us. We just pray for them from distance. But if you hang out with them, they're going to swallow you like a dragon. So pray for them, but don't entertain them.
All very good advice.
Yeah, do not keep your enemies closer. That's the last thing you want to do, baby. Always pray for the enemy, absolutely.
Yeah.
But not entertain them. Don't go out with them. Don't talk to them. Don't text them. Do like I do. I block. Once I block someone, I'm done. But I'll pray for you. But I'm done. I don't need to dwell in it. I'm done. So that's it.
Thank you, Miss G.
All right. Thank you.
I listen to you, Miss G. I listen to you. I don't feel comfortable yet going to church, because every time this church, that church, there's a pedophile. I don't want to be in their company.
But the devil knows the Bible very well, and the devil goes to church too, baby. Because
so I just rather listen to you, Miss G.
No, I'm not. You know what? How about this? I'm gonna text you. And then you're gonna give me your county or the area you're in, and I'm gonna get you a good church that I know. Believe me, I know. It's gonna be a Coptic church.
Catholic?
Coptic, Orthodox. No, Catholic. No.
I was gonna say,
I'm not a Catholic. No. Don't confuse me. No, we are Coptic Orthodox Christian. I'm Egyptian, so we believe in one way. There is no side way. It's only one way, through God, and that's it. So God gets the praise. Jesus gets the praise. No one else. So that's what a Coptic Orthodox. Yep, Orthodox church. That's how I grew up. But there's Coptic Orthodox churches in every state and every county, but they pray in Coptic, which is a language, or Aramaic, and they also pray in English, meaning so the mass can also be understood in English, but it would be English and Coptic, because we include both together. Okay. And try it. My friends love it. They go there every Sunday now. They love it. And try it. And once you go in there, you're going to have goosebumps all over your body. You'll see.
okay, Miss G, I just, like I said,
You'll
every
see.
time.
Don't let the devil discourage you. Don't.
Yeah, but I mean, why do you have to be in a church to receive religion and good advice?
It's not religion. Like I told you, this is not a religion. This is a relationship with God. Jesus didn't die on the cross for a religion.
But why can't it happen through you and just listening to you?
The Holy Spirit in us, when you take communion, believe it or not, communion is real. When you take communion, you're protecting yourself. People don't understand that communion is medicine for our bodies. So a lot of stuff could be happening. But when you take communion and your heart is clear and you don't have any hate or malice in your heart, and you don't lie, you don't steal, you don't manipulate, you don't kill people, and you're pure, that communion is going to help you. It's not going to hurt you. But if you don't confess your sins to God before you take his body, right? Jesus's body and blood, then it doesn't mean anything. It's going to hurt you rather than heal you. So it's all about how you go to God. God is holy. He can't dwell in an unholy dark place. You can't, because it doesn't work. So if you're in a dark place, you need to see the light. You need to go to the light. You need to ask God to help you and to enter your heart and to heal you. And then you ask Him to forgive you for your sins and don't do them again. Like I asked Him to forgive me for, like, my sin is cussing a lot. I seriously have a bad way of cussing at CPS. I hate CPS, and God told me to hate. So before I take communion, I have to ask God. I say, God, please, I'm your child. Forgive me because I don't know how to stop. Right? So Davis is like, GT, no more cussing. Right? So he made it a point. I said, God, oh my God, you send me my boss to tell me that? Because Davis didn't care before. I'm telling you, Davis didn't care before. Then Davis text me, or he sent a private message like, no more cussing. That's it. And I'm like, God is saying, hey, that's your way of that's my way of disciplining you because you think it's okay. You keep doing it. But cussing is a sin, believe it or not. Cussing is a sin. But ask him, Stacey. I swear, just talk to Lindsay. Lindsay will tell you something that occurred, and she said it has to be God. Just talk to Lindsay.
I do believe in God. I absolutely do.
But communion is very important. Communion is, I don't know, the communion in the Catholic Church is so weird to me. It's very weird to me. I don't understand the flat thing. They call it a cookie. Sweetie, that's not, no. So our communion is completely different than that. In the Catholic Church, women can give communion. In our church, the priests are married. They have a wife and kids, and they're the only ones who give communion. And that's how it is in the Bible. So, but I've seen a lot of changes in other churches, but I only go to my church. So I'm only familiar with my church. So try it. You'll see a lot of Americans there. Actually, you'll see a lot of people there. Actually, you'll see American men are deacons there, and they learn the Coptic language, and they pray in Coptic. And it's something that you should know. Seriously, try it.
Okay, Miss G. I'll
Okay?
listen to you. I do listen to you, so.
Thank you, baby. I love you. I know you're not gonna be with us tomorrow, but next Thursday, God willing, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dennis is gonna be with us, hopefully.
I can't speak for him.
Oh, I told you.
What? Actually,
give him a timeout.
You know what, Miss G? I can be here tomorrow. I usually I work Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
No, not tomorrow. Next Thursday.
Oh yeah. But I think you're doing something tomorrow too, no?
Yeah, the show.
Yeah, I thought I couldn't be, but now I can.
What?
Yeah, because I thought that I worked Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but I really just work Saturday, Sunday this week.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, I would love to see you again.
Yeah, but I think Dennis has a interview at 7 p.m. our time, which is 4 your time.
Damn it. This guy, I'm gonna see. Sorry, God. Damn it. I don't even know if that's a curse word, but damn it, Dennis. Jeez. I don't know what to say anymore about this guy. But that's okay. That's okay. It's gonna it'll go back to normal.
I'll tell you something. Because I interviewed him on my show. And I interviewed him on July 4th. And it was weird because it's painful for him, really painful for him to tell his story. Like, I don't know, for me, I've told it so many times. It's still painful, but it's not like raw. And I had him scheduled one day, and then he called and he's like, I just can't do it. He was all upset emotionally. And then I think he was scheduled for another time, and then it was he had some sort of family event or something, and I was like, he had family in from out of town. I was like, there's no way, right? And he's like, yeah, no, there's no way. So it ended up weird because the one time he could come on and be interviewed was the most perfect day possible for his entire story. So it was weird. Yeah, he had trouble coming on, but then when he actually came on, it was like right. So
You know what? I want to talk to Dennis one-on-one. And you. Okay, we're gonna talk. No, I'm serious. I'm not joking. Just one-on-one. Promise me. Let's talk.
I can't promise you
Three-way.
for him,
Three-way. 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 I'm gonna text you before, and I'm gonna see if you guys are both available. And I'm
Okay.
gonna. We can even talk on Messenger. We can see each other and talk on Messenger.
Okay.
But there's something I want to share with you guys.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Deal?
Deal.
Deal. I love you.
Love you too, Miss G.
I'll see you next week.
Okay, sounds good.
I love you guys. See you
Love you.
guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.